thing you may walk off the ledge. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Are you ready to feel it? Because you're all going to be angry. So, Fox is about to make a major announcement. It'll happen in the next 3 days. I don't know what day exactly. It'll happen in the next 3 days. Fox is all in on Fridays in college athletics.
Oh.
College football, college basketball. They want to own Friday.
Mm-hmm.
They have slammed the big nude kickoff at noon Eastern down our throat to make it the premier spot. Now they are going to take over Friday.
I don't like where this is going.
Well, they are going to unveil because they are so excited about this. This is one of the bigger things that Fox has done.
But good on them.
They're going to have a college football schedule on Friday night, and the Big Ten is heavily involved in this. Now,
you're home.
Friday night football is not foreign to us around here. Nebraska has gone and played in some of the more lovely hamlets of the Big Ten on Friday nights. But this is a huge deal to Fox. You're going to see when they roll it out that they will make a big, big, big celebration of Friday night football.
Big Fox?
Big Fox.
Then they're going to be not just going with Rutgers and Illinois.
They have, schools already know what Friday nights they are playing. They are sworn to secrecy. Kirk Ferentz a couple of weeks ago at a Hawkeye Club event mentioned that Iowa is playing a Friday night game. Not Black Friday. Black Friday is exempt in this discussion. Iowa is playing a Black Friday game. He said that publicly. Did not say what game, whether it be home or road. Said it, and he got admonished a little bit because this is Fox's big deal. This is Fox's gigantic, this is our night. It may not be the sexiest games, and it won't be, but it's their big night.
It'll be decent.
That they are going to treat Friday night football somewhat similar to how they treat 11 a.m., but the game does not have the same magnitude. So, with that said, y'all ready? There is so much smoke around this.
Uh-oh.
It has been discussed on this radio station. There is a ton of smoke. I mean, almost that I'm looking at Husker Vision in the north stands at Memorial Stadium that there's going to be smoke come out the top because smoke will be coming out of a lot of people's ears. You cannot run from it anymore.
Yeah.
Nebraska, there is a great possibility Nebraska is going to have a home Friday night football game this year.
And there it is.
So I don't know it for a fact because Nebraska's playing on Friday night. I do know that. They just can't say what, okay? Sworn to secrecy. But there are a lot of the feelings that it's going to be a home game.
Hello, Rutgers.
More the Illinois game. So
another Friday night
I
game.
mean, Nebraska could have 3 night games in the month of September. It looks like it is centered on that game to kick off the Big Ten season. I don't know that for a fact.
Oh, that's going to be a drunk gong show.
But no,
there's going to be
kids.
No. Before you ever get to that, though, if this happens, I'm not saying it is happened, but there's just way too much smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, folks, if it's not now, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nebraska's
right.
going to play
It's coming.
Friday night home football game. We just don't know what year, but it's coming. Because you know why? Because Nebraska doesn't have a voice anymore because they haven't been to a bowl game in 7 years. So when they say, we're Nebraska, the TV execs say, stand down. You know what?
Yep.
We run the show. You don't run the show anymore. If you're Ohio State, if you're Michigan, if you're Penn State, and you're winning, we'll listen. But you haven't been to a bowl game in 7 years. We know what you draw in terms of eyeballs.
Yep.
Stand down. Because what you requested, TV runs the world. You like that money you got from us? Shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. When this does happen, because it's going to happen, again, maybe this year, maybe next year, but Nebraska's going to play a home Friday night football game.
There's a phone number
because
for you.
Television networks, if I'm Fox, it's a no-brainer. You mean to tell me I can get Nebraska in Lincoln on a Friday night? hell yes, sign me up for
Yep.
every day that ends in Y.
I would watch.
But here's the other part of this discussion when it does happen is how does Nebraska explain it? Because you know that there will be not as many as there used to be. There will be a lot of anger about how it has disrupted your normal schedule from Friday night football to coming to Lincoln.
Yeah.
The people that'll be the most excited will be the kids because they'll cancel school on that Friday.
Right.
And they'll be like, you know what? Let's play every Friday night. How will Nebraska, when this eventually happens, this year, next year, in the future, how will Nebraska spin it of we used to be a staunch stand up and hell no, we won't play on Friday. And now it's, yeah, we're playing on Friday night at home in Lincoln. See you
Yay.
there?
That's when you announce alcohol
just-
sales.
There's just way too much like chatter about it. But my curiosity will come from how do you explain it from Nebraska's perspective? Because there's a lot of people that have died on that hill that hell no, we won't do Friday night home football games in Lincoln.
And in Nebraska, at least for a little bit with the Big Ten, was getting that response of, okay, well, will you play one? Because everyone's going to have to play one. Will you play one? Yeah, just not doing it at home because this is sacred ground. This field, this whole atmosphere should be displayed on a Saturday, not on a Friday, unless we're talking about Black Friday, which, as you mentioned, and I would agree, I think everybody would agree, that just doesn't count. It's a holiday weekend. But I would be curious if it's positioned more of this is the exciting new opportunity to display our brand and to display our game day atmosphere in front of a very unique audience that we're going to be the only thing in town. I mean, that would be the positive spin. And you know that's not the reality of it. It's much more of a pain in the ass than anything. But are you trying to be more of the we'll play the game, not the actual football game, but we'll play the game that the Big Ten and Fox is asking us to, and we'll be good soldiers on this? Or do you be blunt about it? You know, if
How would you be blunt?
If you're blunt, you say, this is where we are in a program. This is the challenges we have as a program.
You wouldn't say that. I mean, that we can say that on the radio.
Sure.
As the guy that runs the program, that's in this situation with as much of a heated discussion as this will be.
Yeah.
You don't touch the third rail on that. Here's how I think they roll it out. One, let's be honest. I know that there's a disruption. It is. I mean, we're fortunate enough. There are 90,000 people come to football games. All right. In a town that it has 300,000, but essentially 90,000 people wedge their way into a small part of Lincoln, Nebraska. So there are some logistic challenges.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things to look at this. And there are businesses that will be upset, but you know what? Those TV execs, I'm sorry, I'm going to be harsh here. They don't give a rip about you. They could care less about how your life is disrupted by Lincoln, Nebraska hosting a Friday night game. They don't care. You know what? Because they're writing a check to your school.
Yep.
They don't care about your disruption. TV networks run the world. That's the reality of it right now. Or the bottom line in college football, especially, money, 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 money. You got money. Sometimes you have problems. Sometimes you have, oh, I like it. Okay, so you chase the money. But from Nebraska's standpoint, here is where this door burst wide open for just the possibility. Now, I don't have any firm. I'm not firm enough to say Nebraska's playing X this year on Friday night, but you know it's coming. This year, next year, it's coming. The door burst open for this to even be considered and taken down the road by something that happened in that stadium on a Thursday night last year. Volleyball Day in Nebraska completely changed this idea of we'll never play on Friday night. Now, I have a huge heart for the high school because, I mean, I get the opportunity to do TV on Thursday and Friday night statewide of high school football. So I get that. I've also done a football game on a Friday night when Nebraska's playing on the road. It's kind of awkward.
Yep.
I mean, I'm calling one game and I'm watching the Nebraska game and I'm tweeting. It's wild. Okay. It's
like
maybe the
Kevin
only thing that I can do that I can
talents.
multitask.
Yeah.
But Volleyball Day in Nebraska, I think, opened up the possibilities of, we don't always have to play on Saturday. Because we were able to pull off something that is much larger than a football game. We were able to pull it off on a Thursday by canceling classes. Parking lots were open. We gave our partners in the city of Lincoln and in the state of Nebraska enough time to adjust. I know it was an event, but Nebraska football only gets about 8 events a year. Because of what we did last year on a Thursday, and we were able to pull it off from getting in and out of Lincoln, getting in and out of the stadium, playing on a Thursday.
Even having a concert afterwards.
Or no, what, a Wednesday. What
yeah,
am I
it was
saying?
Wednesday.
Thursday?
It was Wednesday because Thursday was Nebraska, Minnesota. Yeah.
Because you were able to play on an off day in that stadium where you had 90,000 plus and you were able to pull it off and no one got stuck in Lincoln and they couldn't get out and the parking lots were not jammed. That opened the door to people going, that argument that you said that you couldn't pull it off because of the logistics on a non-Saturday, you guys did a hell of a job with Nebraska Volleyball Day.
So then
I wonder what would happen with a football game on a Friday.
Yeah.
So I think that opened up the door. But the explanation on why the ardent stand over multiple athletic directors all of a sudden changed. Changed because of money.
My biggest question would be,
people are going, and this is going to be, sports talk radio in the state will be great because there are going to be a lot of back and forth. There's going to be some real discussion. There's some people like, this is awful. This is terrible. This is brutal. Why would Nebraska ever do that? What are you thinking about the kids? Okay, now they're going to play on a Thursday, okay? We're not going to be able to play on a Friday. Look at all the revenue we lost. I mean, these are all real discussions.
Sure.
And I know, and Troy Dannon, because he was from the high school world in Iowa, would take this in discussion. So there's also the part of, this is going to happen someday at Nebraska, but when is the Friday that it happens? Better to have it earlier in the high school season than on a Friday night where you would go head-to-head with the playoffs.
Yep. Also very true. The other thing that I'm more curious about when this actually happens is how often after that. Because you're not going to make things a significant inconvenience for your fans because you're trying to take care of the fans. And regardless of whether you're playing on a Saturday, a Friday, or the occasional big time event on a Wednesday, you want to make it as seamless as possible. By doing so, does that again, and the return, the eyeballs, and the overall aesthetics of the entire presentation of a home game for Nebraska on a Friday looks good to the networks that they say, hey, we want you to do it again. Is it, this is just a question I'm asking. I don't even know if I feel one way or the other about it. I think I know the answer. And I think that is, once you start, again, to kind of be able to puff your chest out amongst that group in the Big Ten a little bit, you have more say so. But at some point, if you pull this off, and again, fans will show up. It might be obviously a lot more inconvenient for so many people involved, but they'll show up. It'll look like a packed stadium. It'll look like a big time night environment at Memorial Stadium. Will they ask them to do it in the following 2 years again, saying, hey, okay, you did it this year. How about 2026? We want you guys, because like we've been talking about, Nebraska's no stranger to playing on Fridays, but hosting, they pull that off, which I'm convinced they would, that they would say, that was great. Not Nebraska, but the networks and the conference, we want you to do it in another 2 years.
Yeah. So there's two possibilities here. You could, and I'm looking at it from the reaction. Let's say the Illinois game is a Friday night. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to have 3 night games in the month of September for Nebraska.
Be fun.
Hey, there's also,
I
also want to point out something. There's no guarantee that Nebraska won't play 2 Friday games in a season, not and exclude Black Friday.
So will or won't?
I think there would be a possibility they could do that.
I got you.
I mean, there's some candidates on the road to be moved to a Friday night.
Yeah, Indiana.
Again, Fox will roll this out. This is a big deal for Fox. I mean, they are going all in on this night. They want to own this night. They feel like they're starting to own Saturday early. They want to own one day where ESPN kind of may have a game, but they don't go all in with their production.
Mhm.
So they're going to roll it out maybe tomorrow or Friday, but I know that one of the next 3 days. But if you're looking at this as a possibility that Nebraska could be selected for a home game, and Nebraska already knows. If that's the case, they already know. They've known for a while because you have to
start
the logistics discussion.
Yeah.
High school football, the NSAA is a good partner, but money talks. And they don't care about your NSAA, and they don't care about your U.S. Bank and your parking lot that you're going to have to send the employees home. I'm sorry. I hate to be harsh. Doing it earlier would be better than later because the two candidates would be Illinois or UCLA. UCLA would not make sense to me personally because you'd be coming off Ohio State. UCLA has a bye, I believe, going into that week. So, I mean, if you're looking for advantages, and that would be the opening night of the playoffs for high school football.
Yeah.
And it's already going to disrupt some people. I think that would be, if you're going to disrupt somebody and it's going to be high school football in this state, you would rather do it earlier in the year than right up against playoffs. And especially, the NSA, the gate that they get for the postseason compared, where they don't get the regular season. I'm just looking at it from that.
I would think that if you're under you're having that essentially forced down your throat because there's no way Nebraska's saying, hey, we'll step up and we'll do this. But if you're doing that on their terms, that you would at least have the bargaining power to say, okay, well, if that's the case and this is what you want, this is what we would prefer. And that being on the 21st of September as opposed to the 2nd of November. I would hope, and again, maybe this is where I'm not even thinking they don't care to the extent of, no, this is what we want. You guys are going to have to grin and bear it. I would think that they could at least push that through of this would be the game that I guess we'll have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's now inevitable when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in the new world of the Big Ten, Nebraska will play a home Friday night football game.
Get ready.
And that's basically what you're saying is don't say you weren't warned.
Oh, yeah. This has been out there now for about a week.
So look for the positives.
And
there are some.
But
make the most of the day.
I don't know. This is Fox is super excited. I wonder how excited people will be around here.
Like you said,
if when inevitably this happens.
3 night games.
I think there's going to be a staunch against it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as strong as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because that $60 million looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta come to the realization, it's all about money now. Okay, money talks.
It's nice.
Tradition, all that stuff, that's gone a long way. All right. We got private equity firms that want to be involved in our game. We just got to get to kickoff, man. College football does the games great. They do the pageantry, but man, they do the offseason crappy. They take an F in the offseason, they take an A during the season. You balance it out, it's a C. Be better.
It is
college football.
C.
All right. Brandon Vogel is going to join us in a little over an hour as we roll through this Wednesday. Again, the weather's going to be great. So 10 a.m., why don't you get done listening to us and go right downtown and walk into the ballpark to see Illinois Penn State.
Oh,
and bring the kids, why don't you?
With the tractor pull in town and all.
Yeah. The other part, Jason brings up a point. So immediately when this was going to be a thing that Big Ten was going to play on Friday night, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska were the top 4 that said, hell no. And then they used it as, we got the 4 largest stadiums and we do have some logistics.
Yeah.
And that went a ways for a while. But if Nebraska could play a home Friday night game, aren't you going to say, why can't Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State?
Yeah.
And if the response is, well, they're winning.
Not great optics.
And then they're sexier to put on Saturdays. That's another level of discussion that you have to have. But it's coming. If it's this year, next year, the following year, just prepare for it because we're in the new Big Ten. We're in the new Big Ten. And maybe multiple Friday games on your schedule.
Hey, but look on the bright side. Pumpkin Patch on Saturday if you want to go, and you get Husker football.
I would be curious when this is officially announced. the Nebraska fans that have gotten used to watching again, excluding Black Friday, but watching Nebraska play on the road on Friday and again, enjoying it. So the Illinois game, I mean, every year we've seen it, that as you've gotten more used to that part of it, how much pushback are you going to get? You said that you don't think it'll be as much as it was when this was first rolled out.
No, 5 years ago.
Because I remember that conversation as well. I remember everybody talking about that. Like, hell no.
5 years ago, it would have been off the chains.
Yep.
Of, Bill Moose, you are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you drink the worm. Okay. All right. Now it's still going to be. There's still going to be some pushback. I'm not downplaying that.
Right.
But I think it's going to be more of, okay, this is the reality of where we are nowadays.
That's kind of where I'm seeing it a little bit more on that side of it, of where people might be, where there'll be the initial, what? Okay, we're going to host one of these, to, all right, I guess that's the reality.
Yep. All right, Brandon Vogel's coming up a little bit later on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Hanley.